Hey, Dan,
Hey, Brian.
looking good. We'll check back in after Linda.
Okay, should I end the call or stay on?
Stay on.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
I turned his volume off.
Okay.
You can talk to him for a second.
I'm excited, Dan, to jam with you as Dr. Lionel Dork.
Yes.
We'll check back with you.
Yes, Dr. Lionel Dork from Waxahachie Community College, part of the Haxam.
Okay, we're live right now.
We're associated with the Haxamachi
Hey,
Casino.
Dan,
Yes.
we're live in a couple seconds.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
See ya.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna start it.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Rick Chisel and welcome to Fogset News. Our top story, Trump, the president, depressed in the White House after contracting coronavirus and apparently shaking it off with lots of steroids and over $1 million worth of health care that he's denied. The average American is still depressed. Republican donors and staff members have hired hundreds of prostitutes to try to cheer him up as they line up out the door on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. In a related story, Trump Jr.'s book is rated #1 compostable material by waste handlers and dump operators across the U.S. Yes, Trump Jr.'s book apparently is a big favorite with microbes as they devour page after page in the compostable heaps around this beautiful country. Also, in North Korea, Kim Jong-un has announced that he will fire off another nuclear missile, in the meantime offering the citizens of North Korea who are starving a chance at a certificate for a Korean Happy Meal from the Supreme Leader. More after this.
Thank you. That was Brick Chisel. Thank you, Brick. I'm Michael Meehan, and welcome to Fogset. And just like disgraced liar Alex Jones of InfoWars, I am broadcasting from the basement of my mother's house, too. Connecting up with our top story about North Korea, they have just released information saying that the launching of their missile was just a gender reveal party and that they hope to reveal the gender of 10,000 new starving Korean boys and girls. The nation mourns the passing of the founder of IKEA, the Swedish furniture company. The founder has recently passed away, and the family is at home assembling the casket. The Irish attempt at scaling to the top of Mount Everest has stopped short as they have run out of scaffolding. In breaking news, the bondage community has been paralyzed as the masochists have gone on strike, demanding longer hours and lower pay. Sadists have vowed retribution, saying that they will pay dearly. Trump has held up federal aid to Louisiana, which has been buffeted by 2 very destructive hurricanes, saying that the people there need to take off the blue tarps on their ruined homes and switch them to red before he will release any aid. In a shocking break from tradition, Pope Francis has endorsed same-sex civil unions, saying that they too are children of God. doing things that I would love to do. Hollywood awaits the release of the blockbuster Constipation, but we'll have to wait for that to come out. Uber and Lyft, the app-based driving companies, have pushed over $200 million into trying to overturn a law that would make their drivers employees. Their business model, of course, is based on the fact that they can't get their brother-in-law to give them a ride to the airport. This portion of Fogset has been sponsored by PG&E. PG&E stands for Pretty Good Explosion and Fire Too. Now we're going to go and talk to Linda Hill, who's in New York, and tell us what's going on in New York and how the pandemic has been treating her as she's been sheltering in place. Hello, Linda. How are you?
Hi, Mike. Hello from Midtown Manhattan, Hell's Kitchen.
And what's cooking in Hell's Kitchen, Linda?
Well, things have been a little bit different here in New York. I have been going into an office once a week, and it's practically empty Times Square. In fact, it was just me and the naked cowboy one day.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
telling you. Yeah, he says, hey, don't blame me on this pandemic. I'm wearing my face mask. I was like, okay. Wasn't quite worried about that.
I'm sure the Elmos and the Spider-Men are kicking themselves for being at home and not getting a chance to get some media exposure.
Yeah, well, he made it onto TMZ, so he did something right. The Minnies and Mickeys weren't there.
So now I understand you've been dealing with the pandemic, and you found a book that is quite handy for dealing with that.
I did, and I also have this vintage 30s hat that allows me to time travel back to a day when times were tough then too, and they knew how to keep mentally alive.
I think we could all use some tips. What are some of the tips for keeping mentally alive?
Well, Mike, you've got to have a lot of outside interests. Like this description of one man made me think of you. A man who enjoys music, studying language, gardening, wood carving, experiments in chemistry, or reading is not disturbed if a rainy Sunday keeps him in the house. You know, that's what you've been doing, Mike. That's the kind of Renaissance man you are.
Well, thank you. Although I haven't been doing chemistry, my mother has, and she cooks a little meth for the Hells Angels, but that keeps her busy.
Well, you know, she makes a lot of friends that way. I saw the pictures.
Now, what are some of the other tips, Linda?
Well, they say you've got to really work on developing your receiving mechanism. So next time you make something spicy, try to make your olfactory work better and figure out which spices are which. Oh, what fun the family can have with that.
I'm sure. There's nothing like a over-spicy burrito causing a little family unity as you all rush to the one bathroom in the house.
Oh, yes, it goes right along with your constipation story.
Now,
it's up to a woman to stay interesting so that her family is interested in her. Yes, it really says that.
wow. Well, my wife tries that wearing various swimsuits, but my 13-year-old is too busy playing video games.
Well, Mike, I think talking to you keeps me mentally alive, too, because you're a constant inspiration to me.
Well, likewise, Linda, it's great to know that somebody on the East Coast is being able to connect with me and keep me warm in my heart here on the West Coast. But thank you so much for joining us here on Fogset.
It's my pleasure, and the more I read, I'll share more of my tips with you.
We look forward to checking in with you. Thank you so much, Linda Hill. And that was Linda Hill broadcasting from Midtown Manhattan. Thank you so much, Linda. And now here's a word from our resident Seymour.
Hey everybody, it's Seymour! And I know what you're saying. Hey, is that Seymour Butts under the grandstand? Heard it. Hey, but today I want to talk about something that's really starting to tick me off. All the trash in the city. I mean, this city used to be the Pearl of the Pacific or the Baghdad by the Bay. Now it just looks like a big trash heap with all the people sleeping on the streets and throwing their stuff around, not to mention the poo-poo. Whoa, man. Woo! Take a bath, everybody. I don't know what we're going to do, but maybe we can start by just picking up a piece of stuff and putting it in a trash can or something like that. I don't know. I'm just making that. Anyway, that's all I got right now. Hey, let me tell you, man, I was at this party last night and I met this Ewok chick and woo-hoo. Well, I'm not one to smooch and tell, but let me tell you, she was hot. Second date, I'll let you know. Anyway, that's all I got for right now. Take it easy, baby. Fogset.
Well, thank you so much, Seymour, and thank you for giving us your report, Thing on the Street. We're now absolutely delighted to have with us, also from the East Coast, but from Waxahachie Community College, here's Dr. Lionel Dork, who is going to tell us about mythologies that are currently going around. Dr. Dork, welcome.
Yes, well, yes, a pleasure to be with you, Mr. Meehan. As you know, I'm an adjunct professor at Waxahachie Community College, which is on the same campus as Waxahachie Casino. And thank you to the Waxahachie tribe for sponsoring our community college. I am an adjunct professor in myths and legends, and I specialize in little-known myths and legends. I am a DPB, Doctor of Personal Beliefs. What that essentially means is I personally believe that I'm a doctor, therefore I am.
Well, that's quite impressive, Doctor, being a doctor of personal beliefs. And you're saying that some of these myths are little known, yet they apply to all of us. Could you expand on that?
Here's what, for instance, I thought would interest you, as you are of Irish ancestry, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
You are Irish, yes?
There's some Irish in my background, yes.
Yeah. So you probably did not know this legend of the River Liffey. I assume you know where the River Liffey is located.
I believe
it runs.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Doctor.
Right. It runs right through Dublin. Did you know that?
Sadly, I'm ignorant of that fact. I've never been to Dublin. I've been to Cork, Ireland, and most of Western Ireland, but Dublin was not on the tour package.
Well, here's a little known legend about the River Liffey. It used to flow with whiskey, all right? And the Irish did not want the British to find out that this was a source of all the Irish whiskey. So what the Irish would do to thwart the English was to urinate in the River Liffey. Unfortunately, that destroyed a lot of the good Irish whiskey for a long time. But that's where they get the expression when they say in Ireland that he was drunk, they say he was pissed. That's from drinking the whiskey in the River Liffey. That's a little known legend.
That's fascinating, Doctor. That's wonderful information, and just putting in the historical context like that. That is.
Here's another little known Irish legend. Everyone knows about the Blarney Stone, and that if you kiss the Blarney Stone, it gives you good luck. What most people don't realize is there was a Blarney shoe that preceded the Blarney Stone, and that was because of the Great Potato Famine. And the whole town of Blarney had nothing to eat except this one old shoe. And so to keep the English from taking away the one thing that they wanted to eat, what the Irish would do is whenever the English came around, they said, oh, we don't have anything to eat except this stone. And then the English said, oh, well, then we're taking a stone away from you. And what the English did was they embedded that stone into a castle. And that became the Blarney Stone. And so you kiss it for good luck so you could continue to eat your shoe. And that's a little known legend of Ireland that most people never heard of before.
Oh, most of us have never heard of that truism. Thank you so much, Doctor, for illuminating us.
Here's another little
Oh,
known legend from
wonderful.
over yonder way in the islands up there. Like for a long time, the British wanted to go to the mainland of Europe, and they wanted to go to France. Well, the French didn't want them there. So here's what the French would do: they would put mermaids into the English Channel, and then that's when the English got scared and would get in their boats and go back to England. Well, the mermaids were hogs, and the French would put them on catapults and go sailing into the English Channel. The French thought that pigs could swim. Well, they would catapult all these pigs into the English Channel, and the English would get scared and go home, and that's where we get the expression, "The British are coming." Oh yeah, when pigs fly. That's a little known legend from olden days.
Is fascinating information, Doctor.
Oh.
Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Waxahachie Community College, located.
It's been my pleasure.
At the casino. We'd love to check in with you on some other further episodes of Fogset. And thank you so much for giving us this illumination on myths and clearing up a lot of controversies we've had about them.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. That was Dr. Lionel Dork from Waxahachie Community College, located at the Waxahachie Casino. And now I'd like to introduce our other anchor, Dr. He's not a doctor, but he's a very entertaining personality. I'd like to introduce J. Roger Wanke. J. Roger, what's going on?
Hello, my name is J. Roger Wanke, and welcome to the show. Today, we're going to show you how to use a phone. Yes, some of you might not be familiar, but this is what a phone used to look like and that we would use. Now, we lift up the receiver, we listen for the dial tone, and now we punch in the numbers, as they say. So, 1 4 1 5, that's the area code here in San Francisco. 5 5 3 6 9 6 9. And this is just a local brothel sex call center that, hello, may I speak to Monique, please? My credit card number is on file, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, she's not in right now. All right, I'll phone back later. Thank you so much. I look forward to it. Good day. And that's how you use a phone. Now, if you'd like to take a picture with your phone, go ahead, snap away. Okay, you've just taken a picture with this phone as well. Well, that's all for today, and we'll be back later on. Thanks a lot for tuning in to Fogset.
Thank you so much, J. Roger Wanke, for illuminating us on that wonderful device, the phone. We're pleased here at Fogset to have on the wire our doctor of sex, our sexpert, if you will, our sex expert. And speaking of pert, hello to the both of you, Doctor. Welcome to Fogset.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Now, there's been some confusion about your name. I know you're calling from the Vienna Institute of Sexuality and Horizontal Mambo. Is it Dr. Fluffenstupper or Dr. Stuppenfluffer?
Oh, actually, the ultimate role play, I've taken my husband's last name, so it's now Dr. Knockin' Boots or Knockin' Das Boots, but we can say Knockin' Boots.
Well, thank you so much for joining Fogset, Dr. Knocking Boots. I guess we would like to get some information from you as a sex expert. What is sex and how do we get it?
Well, sex is everywhere. If you look around, you see someone who may be like particularly horrifying, you have to realize they are someone's orgasm. So it is prevalent, it is still happening. And how can we get it? That is an excellent question. See, all sex is a transaction, like it or not. So what we're looking for is whether or not the transaction is fair to people. And a lot of people feel this transaction is coming up short. I once saw a bumper sticker that said schlong is better than short. But anyway, the prostitution industry, or excuse me, it's not politically correct or literally correct to call it prostitution, we call it sex work, is I think should be legalized because it is transactional. And in other words, you don't have to, for example, talk to me before we have sex, or you don't have to communicate, or there's no emotions that have to be dealt with, such as someone needs to say, you terrify me, or I don't like it when you cry on me. And so it's a lot easier for a lot of people to have that option, to be simply cash exchange.
Now, what about those of us who, myself included or not included, but what about the people who are maybe on a budget or known as cheapskates? Do you need somebody else for sex?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, depending on your ethics and where you choose to purchase items from, you can find a baggie with lotion. You can also order things. You know, there are devices for every, even toe sucking. You can find that too.
Wow.
So, yeah, it depends on what your budget is. So, yeah, absolutely.
I guess my question is, sniz buzzer, battery operated boyfriend, hug the bunny. Are these pickle dance? Are these expressions of solo sex, or are these just vibrator industry buzzwords?
Good point. Well, there are forever have been names to, you know, there's a whole vibrator museum that goes in depth, no pun intended, into this. But yeah, those are terms, certainly. There's also the fleshlight. I don't know if that's a higher end version, no pun intended, of the baggie with lotion. It's actually a silicone lined chamber. So yes, I mean, pardon? Even if you were to Google your words pickle dance, you could find a vibrator shaped pickle or a pickle shaped vibrator. Hello? Seem to have lost you there.
We're back. Thank you, doctor. We had a glitch here. My mother was changing a light bulb and the whole power went out in the house. But doctor, speaking of, you mentioned fleshlight. Is that a device that has a light inside of it?
No, you light up afterward. It's actually for men, and it is a silicone line device that simulates a vagina or an orifice, if you will. So yeah, you can find any sort of device with any kind of nickname attached to it.
I see. Right. I'm sure that is. Now, Dr. Knocking Boots, this has been so informative. Just one last question. Can you rectify your position on anal sex?
I see. Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you, like so many people, are obsessed with backdoor entry. And I just want to let couples know that there are a lot of other options before exploring this. And there are hazards that come with anal sex. Some people just want it for a special occasion, their anniversary, that type of thing. But I would suggest, let's ring the doorbell. Let's wear out the doorbell first. Why don't we work on trimming the shrubs before we just plow into the mudroom? A lot of people don't enjoy that experience, and there are hazards. For example, prolapsed anus is absolutely something to consider, which you walk around with basically a calamari windsock between your legs.
Well, that sounds like it's very uncomfortable. But doctor, thank you so much for illuminating us on the mysteries and the vagaries of sex, and we'd love to check back in with you on another episode of Fogset, if that's in your schedule.
Please do. Please do.
Thank you so much. That was Dr. Knocking Boots from the Vienna Institute of Sexuality and Horizontal Mambo. And now, here's a word from our sponsor.
Hi folks, Donnie Donaldson here at Donnie Donaldson's Wigatorium. I want to put you in the driver's seat of our brand new hairpiece this holiday season. Imagine the surprise of your relatives when you show up at a reunion with a lush, full head of hair, especially if there's male pattern baldness in the family. Imagine walking into the room full of cue balls with the lovely Donnie Donaldson topper. That's right. Come on down to Donnie Donaldson's Wigatorium. We got deals to make for you. You'll feel better coming in if you come into the store. Excuse me, I'm getting so excited. If you come into the store, you'll exit the store feeling so much better. I guarantee it. Now, I can't say that because the guy who sells the suits says I guarantee it. But should he suddenly drop dead, and God forbid that happen, I would immediately take over that catchphrase and say, come on down to Donnie Donaldson's Wigatorium. You'll feel better exiting the store than you did entering it. I guarantee it. But I can't say that. So, I'm just going to promise you this. Come on down to Donnie Donaldson's Wigatorium, get yourself a new holiday topper, and walk out feeling like a new you. We're located right next to the Denny's that was burned down last year in the race riot, so there's plenty of parking. So come on down, Donnie Donaldson's Wigatorium. We're gonna have some good times, I guarantee it. I mean, I can't say that, but I promise you, we're gonna have good ones. So Donnie Donaldson's Wigatorium, right next to the Denny's that burned down in the race riots. And no credit, easy credit, whatever. Come on down, you're going to feel better. Okay, we'll see you later.
Hello. Hold on one moment. I seem to... Hello, Robert. This is J. Roger Wanke. We're so excited to have you here in our studio. Excuse me while I... some sort of audio device here. Excuse me that. Now we're hooked up. Thank you, Robert. Now
Don't be nervous. I'm just a human being.
Well, thank you. And you're also one of the most humorous human beings we've heard, one of the premier comedians here in San Francisco. But you have moved to Irving, Texas, or Arlington, Texas. Is that where have you been spending this pandemic, Robert?
Yes, I've decided to hunker down here in Arlington, and that is Texas, not Virginia. Think roller coaster, not cemetery. Don't think Pentagon. Think Jack in the Box.
Wonderful.
Right down the street from AT&T Stadium. You know, the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys play there.
Yes.
It's owned by Jerry Jones. Yeah, Jerry Jones built it. It's the kids call it Jerry World because Jonestown sounded way too creepy. I think they had a meeting. Kool-Aid here, ice cold Kool-Aid here. Kool-Aid, legal representation here. Legal representation.
I guess you get everything you need there at Jerry World then.
Set timing. I also right down the street is Globe Life Field where the Texas Rangers played. It's right next door, and I actually found the baseball outside center field one day. With it was autographed. I don't know if you know who this guy is. Rawlings. Any ideas? Is it worth anything? Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's
down the street is. Let's go ahead.
No. I'm sorry, Roger. Robert, I interrupted you. Please continue. This is fascinating.
Also down the way is before the pandemic, they opened up a new strip joint called Legally Bald. Built by renowned Texas oil magnate Mr. Richard Smoke from Amarillo. He died unfortunately at 80, the age of 80, just one month after he got braces on his teeth and his back and his legs. So how about we all pull our shirts down and put our nips together for Big Dick Smoke, everybody, huh? Dick Smoke, everybody. Anyway, sorry.
A shame at his passing, I'm sure.
Well, you know, they call people in Texas shit kickers, you know, but out there in San Francisco, you got to hop over poop to get anywhere. So I think that says it all. You know, no matter where we're from, we're all just kicking and hopping over poop. You know, that's what this is about. It's like a Cat Stevens song, kicking and hopping over poop shadow. But if I may comment on the election, is that possible?
Absolutely. We'd love to get your take on this upcoming election.
Well, all I know is 4 years being viral was a good thing. You know, stuff changes. It doesn't take long. 4 years ago, Republicans wanted to close the borders and Democrats wanted socialism. And now we have closed borders and socialism. How does everybody get what they want except me? 4 years ago, Trump ran on the slogan, Make America Great Again. But this year he's chosen a slightly different slogan. This year he's going with pandemic schmandemic. And
It's not quite as catchy, is it?
no, you can't fit it on a hat. My favorite thing about election year are the tack ads where they show the worst picture of their opponents, you know, with the real high contrast. You see every mole and birthmark, you know, they're eating a hot dog with food on their shirts or whatever. And I just like people don't see through the subtlety, you know, or they can't get to you can't vote for this guy. He's sepia. You have to sensationalize everything, Mike. I mean, now you heard about these murder hornets.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, come on, man. That's just sensationalism. Murder hornets, I'll accept killer hornets, but they're not murdering anybody if they don't know what they're doing. The best you're going to get on these hornets is voluntary manslaughter. You know what I mean? You can't, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. It's just sensationalism. They're scary, though. I've got this one outside. It's apparently a repeat sexual offender hornet. It just keeps buzzing my crotch. There he goes.
Well,
But seriously, man, everybody's a ham these days, aren't they? I mean, we're all just a bunch of hams. Even the guys who give drywall tips on YouTube have to include dubstep, right? The drywall. Joint tape. Embedded screws.
well, I suppose you've been watching quite a few YouTube videos, and guess my next question is, how have you been affected by the lockdown, and what are some of your observations?
Well, when we locked down, I spent the first week just deleting farts from my SoundCloud. That took about a week, and I got carpal tunnel hitting the enter button. You don't want to die with those laying around. You know what I mean? People find a whole hard drive of your farts playing at your funeral. You know what I mean? It's not a dry eye. In fact, that's why heart attacks is really the reason men over 50 don't self-gratificate. You know what I'm talking about? Because you don't want to get found passed out next to a flip-top trash can wearing nothing but a pair of Uggs. Or is that too specific? Anyway, I spent the first week doing the best I could. It's an angry virus, man. You know, we all have to deal with this. We've had a good yin. This is our yang. This virus is angry. But I think you'd be angry, too, if the only picture of you that existed in the news was taken when your hair was in curlers. I thought Coolio was back. Anyway, Grandpa, tell us about the Bonnaroo and the live theater. Okay, hold my mask. Well, we'd be there with our shirts off and girls on our shoulders and spitting on each other. Yeah, we practically had our dicks out at the time. And then on the way home, we had to siphon gas out of a guy's car in front of us while he was moving. In fact, I got so tired I had to pass the tube. But listen, it was good times, and it was worth it just to see the boss. You know what I mean, man?
Well,
I'm sorry, Roger. I mean, Paulie.
Well, it's Roger Wanke here at the Fogset Studios. But thank you, Robert. This has been so illuminating. We're wondering if we could contact you again to get some more of your observations on another episode of the Fogset.
Well, feel free to. You know, I'm just here spending my stimulus money on downers. Seems self-defeating. But yeah, give me a call. You know, it's tough. Don't leave me alone this long, man. You know.
We won't. So don't get too low and keep in touch. And thank you so much, Robert Hawkins from Arlington, Texas.
Okay.
And apparently his ventilator's been clogged. But right now, we'd like to give you these messages and close out our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on fogset.com.
That's my lung.
Greetings, great citizens of the People's Republic of North Korea will be awarded certificates from our supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, to enjoy the glorious North Korean Happy Meal. Yes, delicious generosity from our great leader, Happy Meal for Happy Peoples.
Well, look at the likes of you. Humph. There. Are you not working today, are you? Just having a personal day, you bum. Like that one next door there. She comes to me. Oh, Mrs. Gogarty, my husband's sick. Can I borrow $5 for some medicine? Well, you know what kind of medicine he wants. Down there at the Terrace Lodge with all the other bums drinking away their lives there. Oh, but he was in the war. He was on a destroyer. Yeah, the only thing he was destroying was the liquor supply. Humph. Bums, all of them. Oh, it's time for brick chisel. I've got to go.